guys, it's Paige. Welcome back to my channel. Since moving to London 2 years ago, I have had to get used to being asked some variation of this question pretty much every single time I meet someone new. What's your heritage? What's your background? Where's your family from? I can still remember the first time that I was asked this question. It's still probably one of my most cringiest moments since I've been here in London. I ran into this guy outside of my accommodation. We introduced ourselves, and then he went right into the question. He asked me where my family was from. So of course, my immediate answer was Chicago. And he goes, no, I mean, where's your family from? And I'm like, Chicago? Did he not hear me the first time? What's going on? And he's like, no, I mean, like, what country are they from? And then it finally clicked in my head. It took me a moment, y'all. It took me a moment. But I finally understood that he was probably asking which country in Africa is my family from, or anywhere else in the world. And after that confusion was cleared up, I had to tell him that I had no clue. Many Black Americans simply don't know the answer to that question. Our ancestors were brought to the United States through slavery, and we're just way too far removed to know exactly which country our ancestors come from. So as I spent more time here and met more people, was asked that question even more times, I was able to see how connected many Black British were with their heritage. Pretty much all of the friends that I've made here in London, their parents were actually born in African countries or in different places in the Caribbean. And they and their siblings, if they have any, were the first generation to be born here in the UK. So of course, if your parents were born in a different country, you're gonna feel some type of connection to it because that's where they're from. That's what they know. That's what they're teaching you. Whereas for myself and many other Black Americans, my parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents, they were all born in the United States. So that's all we know. So if I'm being completely honest, I did have a brief identity crisis for like 2 seconds while I was processing all of this. I was like, where am I from? Who am I? What is my identity? But luckily that did not last for very long. I remember having a conversation with one of my friends who is also here from the States studying abroad. And she just reminded me how strong of a culture Black Americans have all on our own. We made our very own culture, which many follow, admire, and often duplicate. And our culture is something to be very proud of. So before I moved to London, I guess you could say I just didn't have that much interest in finding out more about my roots. I just knew that I was Black. I was sure there was some other stuff sprinkled in there. Wasn't really sure what it was. Didn't really care. So this is so terrible. But when Ancestry.com sent me a free DNA kit right before I moved to London, I kind of forgot all about it. You have to cut me some type of slack though, because I was in the process of moving abroad. I had a lot going on. I was closing out things at my job. I hopped on that plane to London, left that kit behind somewhere in my room, and never thought about it again. So when I went home for Thanksgiving this past November to visit my family, I was chilling at home in my room, in my childhood bedroom, and I spotted the kit sitting on my dresser. I guess my mom found it somewhere and put it there, but I don't know, y'all, it just felt like a sign. It just was there. So even though the test had been sitting there for 2 years, I thought, what do I have to lose? I'm gonna take the test, send it in, and see what happens. And y'all, it worked. Your girl got the results back. I want to say it took over 1.5 months for me to get the results back, but I got them. So now that all of that backstory is done, I thought that I would share my results with you guys. Before I share, I want you guys to pause this video right now and let me know your guesses down below in the comments. What do you think my DNA is made up of? All right, now let's pull them up. For someone who really wasn't that interested before, this has been so cool to me, guys. Okay, this is my ethnicity estimate. So the largest percentage, 20%, is Cameroon, Congo, and the Western Bantu peoples. If I'm being completely honest, I had to look up exactly where these places were on the map because I didn't know, but wow. Next, with 15%, we have Nigeria. This one was really cool. I was actually super excited to share with my flatmate because she's half Nigerian. I know a lot of Nigerians here in London, so yeah, I was like, one of y'all. Then we have 13% Ireland. This one doesn't really surprise me because one, my last name is Irish. My last name is Delaney. But I was just always told that was because slaves often took on their slave owner's last name. So Delaney. And then I just had a feeling there were going to be other non-African countries in there as well. Had a feeling. Then we have 10% Scotland. I guess that makes sense because Ireland and Scotland are not far away from each other at all. So, okay. And then the other ones are lesser percentages, varying from 9% to 1%. And they are majority of other African countries. And then a couple more European countries sprinkled in there as well. I wouldn't say that I'm surprised by any of these. Probably because I didn't really have any expectations at all. I had no clue what it was gonna say, but it is really cool to have these answers right here in front of me. I need to do more research on these countries, and I would love to visit Nigeria or Congo or Cameroon one day. I actually visited both Ireland and Scotland in 2019, so that's pretty cool. If you guessed any of these places, you were correct. And what I've also loved about doing this is that Ancestry.com also connects you with other DNA matches that are on the website. See a whole lot of second and third and fourth cousins on there. It's really crazy. 2 of my cousins have reached out to me so far. One from my dad's side, and then one from my mom's side actually reached out to me on Facebook yesterday. I found out that his grandmother is my grandfather's sister. So of course I called my mom right away, and she was like breaking it down for me and all that stuff. And my grandfather died when my mom was in her early 20s, so I'm sure it was also really cool for her to make that connection. But yeah, I hope I get to keep connecting with more family members. I love that part of it the most, I think. When people ask me from now on where I'm from, I probably won't say Cameroon and Nigeria just because I don't actually have a connection to those places. I probably will still say the United States, Chicago, but if I feel like it, I just might pull up my Ancestry DNA results sometimes. I'd love to know if any of you all have ever done one of these DNA tests. Was anything on there shocking or surprising for you? Definitely let me know in the comments. This has been so much fun. And of course, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!